What's going on, everyone? So, you never really want to look into the past. You never want to there's a million what ifs. What happens if this happened? What if this happened? What if that, right? Like 2021 season. What happens if Anthony Davis and LeBron James and, Dennis Schroeder doesn't get COVID and LeBron and AD don't get hurt, right? You probably beat Phoenix and you're in the NBA champion. You might be back-to-back champions, right? There's a lot of different things. What if Charles Barkley ended up a Laker? What happens if the Chris Paul trade never got viewed? There's a lot of things that you can look at and go what happens if this actually went through? Carmelo Anthony teamed up with Kobe Bryant like he supposedly was supposed to. But one of the what ifs of recent times that really just drives me crazy, and this playoffs in particular has really kind of, thrown some salt into that, and that is the Knicks Buddy Hield and Myles Turner trade. So for those that need a refresher or anything or aren't familiar, Lakers trade for Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook doesn't work. Rob Pelinka in the offseason goes and works out a deal to trade Russell Westbrook and 2 firsts for Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. All right. So Lakers would have ended up with Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. All right. Jeannie Buss goes, nah, I want to see what Darvin Ham can do with Russell Westbrook. I want to give Darvin Ham a chance to see what he can do with Russell Westbrook. So let's not do that trade. So Jeannie Buss vetoes the trade. Lakers do not land Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. Lakers go on to the conference finals and lose to the Denver Nuggets, which you could argue, what would have matched up better for the Denver Nuggets? Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, right? Because now you would have had Myles Turner and Anthony Davis to match up against Jokic, right? You would have had Buddy Hield for his shooting and all his abilities. You still probably trade for other players and other pieces, right? Because, the Lakers traded Russell Westbrook to get, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, who was unplayably bad for us, but Buddy Hield might have not have been. And then also Jared Vanderbilt. You still could have made other moves, still could have made other trades, you still could have done other things, right? And the Lakers wouldn't have made, the Mo Bamba trade and all these other trades to try to make it work because you would have had Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. So your other trades probably would have been very different. But I digress, right? Point is that the Lakers don't pull off that trade, and they obviously end up losing to Denver, who ultimately wins the NBA championship. So that's one potential, could have won the championship. Here's the bigger one, right? Lakers trade for Luka Doncic. And in doing so, you trade Anthony Davis along with Max Christie and a first. Great trade. You do that all day, including Sunday. Lakers now have Luka Doncic. You know what the Lakers don't have? A center. You know what the Lakers desperately needed? A center. Do you know what the Lakers would have had if they would have done the Buddy Hield and Myles Turner trade? Oh, yeah, a center. Right? Because you would have had probably, more likely than not still, at least Myles Turner, maybe even potentially Buddy Hield, right? So you would have right now had Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Myles Turner, along with Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Because none of the other trades would have really changed. Well, I guess D'Angelo Russell, but Lakers might have still traded for D'Angelo Russell regardless because they needed a point guard. They needed playmaker, right? And especially if you're trading Russell Westbrook, they might have went and traded for D'Lo regardless. So they might have still flipped D'Lo and got a Dorian Finney-Smith, right? You can make an argument if the Myles Turner trade happens that all the same things that would have happened still happen. Because guess what? The Lakers still trade for Luka because they still have Anthony Davis. So Luka still ends up getting traded to Lakers. So bare minimum, you have Luka, LeBron, and Myles Turner. You have your center. Now, Myles Turner has been killing it in these last few postseasons since the Lakers trade. What do you think he would have done for the Lakers alongside Luka and LeBron? Also, you would have matched up much better against Minnesota, right? And Myles Turner is a guy that could have maybe been that consistent piece for you and would have had multiple years of chemistry and would have had all the things that you needed to have, right? Lakers would have been in excellent shape. Also, you wouldn't have had to go and try to trade the assets for a Mark Williams, which means the Lakers might have been able to make a different trade on top of that, maybe got another 3-and-D wing. Maybe they're not even looking at Mark Williams because you got Myles Turner, right? So You look at that, and then you watch Buddy Hield in a game 7 hit, what was it, like 7 or 8 threes, and it's just like, and then you watch Myles Turner just bodying and bullying, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're watching, Indiana beat the best team in all of basketball, and you watch them win the first round in dominant fashion. It's just like, again, I don't like to dwell and try not to look back, but it's really hard. Like, this is one that really, because there's so many different scenarios, right? Compared to some of the others, right? Usually it's like, okay, if we would have traded for, Charles Barkley, Lakers probably would have won multiple championships, right? Like, okay, cool. Or they wouldn't have, right? It's usually pretty straightforward. But like, you think of everything that's happened since that moment where you could have potentially done the Myles Turner trade, and everything else that could have happened still could have happened. Right? Like, you still, like, and you could argue Lakers would have been in better position to go make other better moves, right? Like, and the picks and whatnot, again, you still traded the pick. I mean, they have one of those picks technically still, right? Like, but you would have freed up a pick right now, right? So like, and you would have pick swaps, you would have all this other stuff, right? And you still could have traded for a D'Lo, which ultimately led to Dorian Finney-Smith. But even if you didn't, right? Like, you're still, at the end of the day, you're eventually going to fast forward, even if the Lakers don't win anything, right? Let's say nothing changes. Let's say the Lakers still lose to Denver, and and they don't win a championship up until this season, right? Well, you're still trading for Luka Doncic. And guess what you're doing this offseason? You're not looking for a center, right? Like, what you're doing this offseason is you're looking for perimeter 3 and D wings. Yeah, backup center probably, but you'd have Luka, Myles Turner, and LeBron James, and maybe even potentially Buddy Hield, right? So now all you're doing is looking for all these various pieces. You're looking for all these various trades and and whatnot. Right? Lakers still are probably trading for Rui Hachimura, right? Like, because you're still probably making several of these other moves, still probably doing several of these other things. And so the fact that the Lakers once again didn't do the Buddy Hield and Myles Turner is just like, oh man, what could have been? How does this? Are we playing the Warriors right now if they pulled that Buddy Hield and Myles Turner trade? It's just one of those things. But anyway, sorry to bring this up again. I'm sure there's some people that are going to be like, man, why are you talking about this? Like, I get it. But it is. It's just frustrating. Because Rob, granted, obviously, Genie didn't have hindsight of, Luka and all these other things. But it was the best trade at the time. Like, it made the most sense at the time. Anthony Davis wanted a center at the time. Right? It's just like, everything would have, like, it made perfect sense. Lakers need shooting alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis, and they need a center, right? Alongside Anthony Davis. So you would have Myles Turner. You would have 2 bigs, right? 2 versatile bigs, right? LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and then could have went and made, some other moves, done some other things, right? Like, it's just, and guess what? Nico Harris still would have called and been like, hey, what do you think about Luka? Because you still would have had Anthony Davis. So you still would have been able to pull off the Luka trade. So then you'd have Luka, LeBron, and Myles Turner as like your 3 main guys. You'd still have Austin Reeves, and you could look to turn Austin Reeves or whatever else in the perimeter guys to put around Luka, LeBron, and Myles Turner. Now go get 2 legit 2-way guys. And now you have, imagine if you had like Luka, whatever, like Luka. Maybe you go make a trade for like a Dyson Daniels instead of Atlanta, right? Like, and then you're going and getting a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, LeBron James, and Myles Turner. Now you're one of the best teams in basketball. Now, if you want Myles Turner, you're going to have to work out a sign and trade, and he's going to have to force his way to the Lakers. It's just like, Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Feel what your thoughts? You agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. I feel whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So if you enjoy these types of videos, I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.